well, here we are on the same path, and I guess I'm gonna have to make the same round. It's not really a round because I cannot make a round unless it would be through a forest or a meadow. So it's just there and back sort of. Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, until they clear this meadow here, until they mow it, I'm not gonna go in there. Not even that it's gonna be dry and warm, because there can be fawns in there, you know. And yeah, speaking of fawns, I got the update from the rescue station, and yeah, the fawn didn't make it, so that's that. And not only the fawn didn't make it, but even the blackbird didn't make it, so yeah. So that sucks, yeah. I had a sliver of hope. I mean, I hope even the blackbird's gonna make it, because it was really quite lively when I was handing it over to the rescue station. It looked really good, you know. I mean, the wound was, you know, pretty significant, I would say, but it was hanging there for 2 hours, you know. I was like, if it would be that severe and that critical that it wouldn't make it past these 2 hours, you know, let alone be this lively when I picked it up. It was really like, you know, almost like flapping its wings and trying to sort of break free with quite the strength. So yeah. And the fawn, I mean, I had hopes that it will make it too, although I was worried that it won't really. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, the sort of I mean, I don't know if I can even say consolation, because it's not really a consolation, but the thing about rescue station, I believe that's the case, at least. I don't know if it works like that in rescue stations, but it's what I was thinking when I brought the piglet about 2 years ago, and when I brought it in and they told me that it didn't make it. I also checked in on it like 2 weeks later, you know, and they told me, okay, yeah, it didn't make it because it was too sick, too weakened, and apparently he died shortly after I brought it in. The thing is that they have loads of, oh, there's a roe deer on there. Surprisingly pretty chill, considering we're approaching it. And Drake is running towards it, and it's going. See, but that's the case when it's fine, because it's a healthy deer. So there's nothing to worry about there, because it's gonna run into the forest and Drake's not gonna follow. And that's been like that for freaking 3 years. Until Drake killed the fawn. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, what I was gonna say is that I was thinking that, you know, they have loads of animals there that are either permanently there because they cannot be released back into the nature because they're like severely handicapped or something, and they actually have a kind of a wild zoo thing going on in there, when you can actually go buy a ticket, see the animals there and all that. And of course they also have animals that are rehabilitating there, and they, as soon as they get better, they get released back into the wild. But the thing is that they have birds of prey and predators there they have to feed with something, and I imagine that they will give them, you know, animals that just, you know, die and don't make it, they will give it to them as feed, you know, as a fresh sort of meat. So I don't know if it works that way, but I imagine that's what happened with the piglets, that they, you know, then gave it to the animals, and so there was some sort of I don't know how to put it, but that its body didn't go to waste, let's say, you know. I don't know if this same thing happened with the fawn. They'll do the same thing, because yeah, now that I think about it, they probably gave it antibiotics, and I don't know if you can, you know, feed animals meat that, you know, of an animal that has been treated with antibiotics. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. Look at the poppy seeds, how beautifully they're blooming. That's the most poppy seed spot of the whole field. I wonder why. And I'm almost thinking that it's probably because they didn't spray it there. Because really there are some, you know, scattered around here and there, and almost none there when it's very flat and reachable. Good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy that you're hanging around. Good. Hold on, Drake, hold on. You got a flying deer tick. Oh no, that's not a flying deer tick. Okay, cool. Yeah. You know, it's there's not much of them there, but there's like huge amount of them situated here, and of course it might be the soil that attracts them here. It's a particular sort of, or maybe even the terrain. Maybe there's like I don't know if water like collects in that spot, but I'm thinking maybe because they didn't spray there as much, because when you check right over there is a patch that never gets tilled and never gets sowed, and never gets sort of there's nothing there at any given point. And I don't know why, because I have never been there, but I think there are some either huge stones or something that prevents the tractors going in there. You see that patch, right? The little sliver of green when there's nothing but essentially grass. So that particular part there, they have to go around it, because I don't know why. I don't know what's there. I think there's some stones probably, you know, that would make sense, because if they're large enough, they just don't, it's not worth the trouble, so they just leave it there and go around it. But that's the thing, if it had to move around it, that doesn't make sense, because if it would move around it, then at this point it would already go back and spray this particular part full of poppy seeds. And frankly, I don't even know what they're spraying it with, you know. I don't know what it is. I guess I would have to ask agriculture or someone who's doing this kind of work. I have no idea what they're spraying it with this often, you know. At least once a month they're doing it. The only thing that I thought about was maybe it's fungicide, because I couldn't imagine what can damage the crop other than mold when it's very rainy, and you know, it can like catch this like black sort of mold or something because it's grain. That's the only thing I could think of, because if I imagine I would plant a little bit of field in my garden with wheat, I cannot imagine any sort of pest or any sort of anything really to damage it, you know, other than mold. And you know, of course, you can have herbicides, like you can have loads of weed growing in between. But I'm pretty sure poppy seeds is considered to be a weed too. Maybe not, I don't know. And look at it, it's all over the place. So I don't know. Do we have any more mushrooms here? Oh, I had a dream about mushrooms, actually, now I recalled. Yeah. Loads of mushrooms. Was it a dream or was it a reality? I think, I'm not sure now, actually. Because I was detecting on Sunday, it was, you know, a very wild weather. It was like raining and there were storms, but I was like, I'm gonna go. Huh, interesting. It's like, I'm gonna go even if it's gonna be whatever, you know, because I don't care. And the detector is waterproof, and so, you know, there's like, if it rains, it's just, you know, inconvenient or maybe uncomfortable, but it doesn't prevent you from like going out and detecting, which is awesome. Yeah, man, I would love to go there, but you know how that goes. I mean, I guess we're just gonna head back, man. Sorry, we're just gonna head back, because if we go there, there's no like sensible route we can make other than going through the forest, which I don't want to go through. So we're just gonna head back, like, as I said, like vanilla dog owners. Yep. Just going back and forth. Not into the forest and not anywhere else. But yeah, hey, it's just a temporary mode. It's just a temporary mode. Anyway, I was saying that yeah, I was metal detecting despite the bad weather, because I knew I was calculating, and I knew like I cannot go out this weekend, and I cannot go out the next weekend, and I can't really go in between, because I mean I can finish earlier at work and go out for an hour or two. I could do that, but I know myself, and I know how these things go, and I know it's just not gonna happen, you know, because mostly I start late at work, and it's like I'm like ineffective because I procrastinate, and I don't know, it just takes me a lot of time, and before I finish it's like already late, and you know, I'm just like, yeah, sure, I could go for half an hour or an hour, but let's not. I just kind of like get into it and sort of, you know, get into the flow and just, you know, go for it for at least 3-4 hours, ideally half a day or something. Draco, hoe is je rust al? I gave you a treat, man. Hoe is het je dal? Dobrutku, Draco. No? Hoe is het je dal? So yeah, so I was like, you know, I'm gonna go out. I'm not waiting 3 weeks to go detecting again. So I'm gonna go out no matter freaking what. And that's what I did. And I was detecting for 7 hours maybe. Yeah, roughly 7 hours, I think. And I wasn't stopped by the rains. I wasn't stopped by the storms. I was continuing on. And I covered quite a lot of ground, and I was at a very, very interesting spot on a field close to I mean, historically that area was very rich. It's very rich historical area. I mean, loads of the areas around here are, but that particular spot was known for a very significant settlement of the Celts, and so I was close to that area on a field where this plant grows. Actually, was this kind of field, and it's like this plant is kind of like a clover, and it's used to feed livestock. You know, that's a kind of a, it doesn't even look like a crop, right? But it is a crop. It's something that you harvest about 3 or 4 times a year, because it grows very fast. Actually, this one was harvested recently. Remember how the round sort of haystack was here, and I thought it was a white deer. That's the time they harvested it, and look at how it grew already. So they're gonna harvest it in I don't know, 3 weeks again, or 4 weeks, and they do this like 4 times at least, and they feed livestock with it. So just a little bit of a a fun fact. So yeah, I was on that kind of field, and it was quite tall. It was much taller than this, so I wasn't going into the field. I was going into some patches around an edge of the field, which were not really grown over. Just like, you know, we can head here. Yeah, I was looking a little bit like this, and that's where I was detecting. And I haven't found anything really, other than like anything like significant. Was the only significant or specific thing was an old aluminium coin from 1963, a Czech one, which is like, I don't know, like a 1 heller or something. It was like very, you know, low nominal, low value 1963 coin. And then, ooh, look at that feather. Wow. And that is raven. Yeah, it's a big one, very dark black, pitch black. And ooh, and yeah, that's a raven. Cool. And I think this one is from a wing. Yeah, it's a wing feather. Anyway, yeah. So, and molted, by the way, too, you know, so like it, you know, it was dropped, and it's gonna, like, beneath it grows a new one that will eventually grow into this size in a couple days or weeks, maybe at most. Grows really fast. So yeah, so I found that, and then I found a pin. I still haven't inspected it because I came late, and I was like, you know, I was like really exhausted, and, you know, soaked through with the rain and all that. So I just left all my finds in my pocket, and I didn't expect them since, because again, as I said, there was nothing particular significant that would make me super curious, you know. But the pin looked interesting. I haven't inspected it much. I just put it in my pocket, but it looked like a, I don't know, I think I saw some wings and something, who knows what it is, but it looks, it's made out of copper, and it looks to be 100 years old at most, you know, not super old. But I would imagine 1920s the oldest, probably. It could be a little older, but I don't think so, because it was very thin. It was quite well preserved. And I don't see drake. I don't see drake, which is not ideal. Probably gonna be on there, because the grass is quite tall, so I can't see him. So I'm just hoping he's somewhere there. Okay, let me call him. Yeah, so those were the things that I found. I found, oh, there he is. Okay, there he is. I mean, you can't see him, and I can't either, but I saw him move. So he's in the meadow. I found a couple of like things that seem like you cannot really identify them. They were very conductive, and I believe they might be either lead or quite likely, but not really that likely as a lead. More could be a silver too. And I believe, because it was situated on a particular spot in more of a in greater numbers, I believe there was a spot where used to be a furnace, and it is known that the Celts did have furnaces there that made jewelry and made all sorts of like metallurgical work. And I believe that particular spot might have to do something with it, because there's been a lot of these sort of lumps of metal that look like stones, but if you clear the dirt a little bit, you could see that it's a metal. And it was like small little lumps, like a little pebbles. And I believe that was really old, actually. So probably the most significant and the oldest find I did made on Sunday was this, because I don't think that was made or that had origin in recent centuries. I think really that goes way back, and it most likely was from a furnace of the Celts, really. That's what I believe. But unfortunately, I mean, you can I guess someone could probably identify it, but you know, it's just a lump of metal, you know, and it's really it's kind of small, and it just looks like your regular sort of pebble, you know. It doesn't have any specific shape or anything. So I guess you could only make a sort of a guess, an estimation what it could have been, and this is mine, you know. I think it was a metallurgical furnace, most likely. And then I found tons of trash, like loads of tady jdeme, Draku, tady jdeme, ne podél lesa. And off he goes either way. Oh, it's fine, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, loads of trash, like aluminium foils, so many aluminium foils. And you know, they do sound and have the ID similar to gold, or small gold items or small silver items. So it's like, if you have that, then you're just going for it, because you never know. And yeah, like in all the cases that I did dig, it was aluminum foil. But that's the thing, you know, you dig all those signals and all those you know, ID numbers until you find the gold item, you know, and that's the jackpot. So yeah, that's what you have to do. Anyways, that was my Sunday, and I don't even know why I was talking about that. Oh yeah, because I saw so many mushrooms, because it was close to the forest, and there were so many mushrooms in there. Russella mushrooms, and I believe they are even edible, but they are the types that I don't really pick because they're hard to ID. So I just didn't pick them at all, but there were loads of them, and that was interesting to see. And maybe that was the quote-unquote dream, and it wasn't actually a dream, but I feel like I was dreaming about it too, that I was picking mushrooms, but I don't recall. Anyway, that was that's just actually something I wanted to talk about, and I ended up talking about something else. That's me, all right. That's a classic me. And yeah, we're at the end of this rather boring walk, so I will call Drake. I'll call Drake again, by the way, because I already called him. I'll call Drake and I'll go home. And that's that. Yeah, I'm really tired today because I haven't slept much. I have those nights again. It's like third one in a row when I haven't slept really well. Oh God. And Drake is just nowhere. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna end it here. I'm gonna sign off and see you tomorrow. All right. Okay, so I had to go to the forest. I didn't find Drake there, and then it turned out he was somewhere there in the meadow. I didn't see him. Anyway, good news. But I found this feather. That's why I started this video again. I found this feather right here, and again, molted. I think it's starting to be the time when birds mold their feathers, so we're gonna see more of feathers like that laying on the ground, and you're gonna find feathers like that lying on the ground when you're gonna be you know, walking in the forest, or you know, anywhere in nature. And this particular one, I don't know if you can see the details, hold on, but there is a slight little faded in this spot here, slight little faded blue, and that is a sign that this was a jay's feather, Eurasian jay, Galadrius glandrius. So yeah, that is Eurasian jay, and I can't see Drake again, so I'm gonna call him. Jesus, this is like never-ending story. And yeah, that's a jay's feather. That's just what I wanted to say. And that I did found Drake, and he was not in the forest, thank God.